Hey everybody, it's Allie. Happy New Year! Welcome to our Y&R chat for Sunday, January 5th, 2014. Victoria's flight to go see Reed has been canceled, and so she decides she wants to just come home and spend a lovely New Year's Eve with her husband, but her husband is getting naked with another woman, you know, as is oft to do, right? Billy and Kelly are in her apartment having ferocious sex. I couldn't even think of hardly a word to describe the kind of like sexual activity that they were having. It wasn't technically sex, but he was picking her up. She's in her bra and panties, and he's picking her up and tossing her around onto the couch like it was raw kind of sex. Like desperation, heartache, motivated sex, and it was just erupting, and all of a sudden it stops. And they realize that they can't do this. It all just becomes, it was a makeout session. It wasn't actually sex. They were close to sex, but they didn't really do it. And so they pull apart and start scrambling right away. Like, Billy is saying, well, they're both saying it's a mistake. This was a mistake. It should never happen again. Billy's all about how he loves his wife, and she knows that. He just kind of slinks away into the night, and as Billy was standing outside of Kelly's apartment door, it dawned on me she has got to live in the same apartment building as the Baldwins. The interior of the apartment looked very similar. Like they could have just used Michael and Lauren's apartment as the set, and then out in the hallway it's exactly the same. It's funny because I got a voicemail from Connor who noticed the exact same thing. He was like, gosh, I thought, did Billy take Kelly back to Michael and Lauren's place? It was so bizarre. Well, Billy comes home and he is beside himself with what has almost just happened, and he was not exactly expecting to see his wife. Victoria had already arrived home from the flight. She has been trying to contact him. She's wondering where he is, and he's not really answering where he's been. He just dodges the questions, and she, of course, has to begin to apologize, adding salt on the wound. She's saying, I'm sorry that I haven't given you enough time and enough space to grieve, which that's exactly what she did. I don't know where all this apologizing came from. I think Victoria's confidence level is way, way down because Victoria's done a very good job of giving him the space that he needs to go out and do what he needs, including getting close to another woman. She let all of that happen out of love for her husband, and in this moment, her standing there apologizing to him for it, he just snaps and he says, don't apologize to me. You didn't do anything wrong. I did. And there's this moment where you think maybe Billy is going to tell her everything. He had this chance to confess to her, and he did not take it. He decided not to. I think that Billy sees this incident with Kelly as a wake-up call, as a way for him to get his head out of his ass and get back into connection with his wife, because now he's trying to be a perfect husband. He's bringing her a huge bouquet of roses and being all sweet and trying to get her to remember that New Year's Eve when Victoria figuratively and literally pretty much took him and pulled him up out of the gutter, took in a stray dog in Billy and nurtured him back to being the man that he is today, and he wanted to remind her of that. There was this moment in the shower. Billy's in the shower, probably trying to wash off what had just happened between him and Kelly, and Victoria opens up the shower door, and there's just this gorgeous scene of her standing there naked and vulnerable in front of him, and vice versa, and they just go embrace and begin to kiss and presumably make love in the shower. I mean, if Billy can muster it up to make love to Kelly, he can muster it up to make love to Victoria. We had that scene a couple weeks ago where they were in bed together and Victoria tried to initiate sex and Billy really wasn't ready for it, and now it seems like it's kind of a different story. It was a very sweet scene, I thought, between them coming together. I'm glad that Billy was able to stop himself, that he didn't go on and commit any kind of act that he would regret later. I mean, this is tons of regret in just letting it go as far as it did with Kelly, but I am glad that he didn't end up sleeping with her. It was very close. It really looked like it was going to become something naughtier. So, weird and unexpected development. Kelly runs into Stitch at the coffee house, and lo and behold, they know each other. Like all of a sudden, Kelly and Stitch just know each other. They've both been in town for a while. I mean, Stitch has been in for at least a couple of months, and Kelly has a permanent job there, so I'm assuming that Kelly has been in town for a while, and now all of a sudden they're running into each other right and left, and they don't like each other. Neither one of them are happy to see the other one. And it seems like, I mean, this is just me picking up on whatever I'm picking up on. It seems to me like Kelly is bitter towards Stitch about something, and Stitch feels ashamed about something. So I don't know exactly what it was, but Kelly was riding him pretty hard. She said something to him like about almost kind of insinuating that maybe he's not a doctor. She said something like, so what, does everybody in town call you Dr. Rayburn now? So I don't know what Stitch's big secret is. Did you guys get that from that scene? Are we thinking that somehow Stitch is an imposter or something? I'm not sure. But I think there was another scene later in the week where they run into each other again. Haven't run into each other at all in the past however long they've been living together, and now all of a sudden it's running into each other constantly. But Kelly says something about, like, asks about his wife, and then says something like she was going to find out sooner or later. So I'm guessing that Kelly and Stitch had an affair or something, because I don't know. Later, Kelly ends up overhearing while Stitch runs into Ashley at the coffee house, which I thought was adorable. I love Ashley and Stitch, and I think there's total potential there, and I'm very happy that Y&R brought that back full circle. But Stitch runs into Ashley, and they're talking, and Kelly overhears it, and then she comes back to Stitch and says something about his wife. So I don't know what the deal is. I mean, I guess I can only assume that they had an affair, and maybe that's what's wrong in Stitch's marriage, which also means that this is not her incident with Billy is not the first time that she's had an affair with a married man. So I'm not sure, but they both agree to just stay out of each other's way, which we all know will not happen for very long at all. Especially because Victoria shows up at the coffee house and she meets with Stitch, and she ends up meeting with Kelly too, and separately invites them both over for dinner. Next week they're going to find out that they're showing up at Billy and Victoria's house for dinner, and they're both there. Stitch and Kelly know each other. Billy and Kelly have this horrible secret, and it's going to be super awkward. I wonder if Stitch and Kelly are going to find themselves disliking each other but having a common goal. I wonder if this is going to lead toward maybe Kelly and Stitch working together to break up Billy and Victoria. If perhaps Kelly wants Billy and Stitch wants Victoria. I'm not sure, but I'm really hoping for an Ashley and Stitch. I want to see Ashley come back. I thought that she had total chemistry with Stitch, even just in the few few brief scenes that they had together, Ashley was at the coffee house talking with Abby and Tyler just before she left town, and Abby, of course, saw Stitch and had to bring him in like, oh, Dr. Rayburn, hey, you remember my single mother? And Ashley is gracious, of course, but just before she leaves town, she tells Abby and Tyler that she is planning on being back in Genoa City way more often soon. So, yay! I'm getting the feeling that maybe Y&R is going to be bringing Eileen Davidson back. I don't have any kind of confirmation on that. I haven't seen any casting news that would indicate that, but just based on what she's saying and the fact that she's been around town a little bit more lately, I think maybe we're going to see a whole lot more of Ashley. Yay, yay, yay! Oh yeah, and Abby and Tyler are moving in together. Victor is finally taking a look at the information about the license plates that the private investigator has left for him, and he's absolutely floored to see his son's name on the list. And Victor and the private investigator were working together all week to try to get to the bottom of all of the possible scenarios, trying to figure out who it was that could have ran over and killed Delia. And the private investigator does mention that there is a witness who is afraid to come forward because he did something. I don't know, apparently there's a warrant out for his arrest and he's looking at 10 years in prison. Did I get that right? Is that what you guys got from that? So there is a witness, but he doesn't want to come forward, but I think presumably is going to come forward very soon. Victor, in the meantime, tells the private investigator to dig, dig, dig. Do what you have to do. Find out who it was that ran this girl over. Get more information. It would have been nice if this private investigator and or Victor would have been doing that all along for the past month. But do it now, okay? Just do it now. I'm ready for this whole thing to be over. I know it's coming and I want to get over the hump. Victor is very suspicious that it could be Adam. The fact that he knows who his son is, he knows that his name is on the list, and he's worried about it. Victor knows that if Adam did it, Adam knows that Adam did it, and Adam's been hiding it. So expect no mercy from Victor. No mercy at all. I mean, I do think that Victor started out trying to rule out Adam as a suspect, but as it all unfolded throughout the week, it seemed like Victor was more and more assured that this is exactly the kind of thing that his son would have done. There was this scene that I'm so very curious to talk to you guys about, where Victor, in fact there was two scenes, where Victor is taking a look at that list, and it's a printout with Adam's name highlighted on it, and I'm sure everyone noticed this. Just above Adam's name was Kelly White's name. Now, I don't know if Kelly's last name is White. Has that been revealed? But I just can't believe that that's some kind of large coincidence. Gary called into my voicemail and noticed the exact same thing, so I'm sure that you guys must be buzzing about that. Kelly's name has got to be right there on that list too. As a matter of fact, it said right next to Kelly's name, apartment number, like it was her address and apartment number. We know Kelly lives in an apartment, so I really think that this had to have been part of the original plan. If whatever happened with Michael Mooney didn't happen, I think they would have originally tried to pin this whole thing on Adam, only to a short time later reveal that it was actually Kelly. And we're starting to see at this point in the show a crack in Kelly's facade. At first when she came on, she was all just a grieving mother and she was super supportive of Billy, and little by little I think that's getting cracked away. She's got some kind of secret going on with Stitch. She let herself become involved with this married man and in some ways kind of led him down that path. So I think that, I think originally Kelly was supposed to do it. I think that gosh, if all of the other stuff with Michael Mooney wasn't going on, I really think that it does leave open, well, for a recast. I think that Eventually, this door is wide open for Adam to return, whether it's Michael Mooney or not. Probably not Michael Mooney. Ugh. But I think what's going to happen is they're just going to send Adam to jail for a while and then bring him back as a recast and show that Kelly was the real culprit, and it was a wrong accusal for Adam. We'll see. Only time will tell on that tragedy. All week, Victor has been trying to call Adam, trying to get him on the phone, and Adam doesn't want to have anything to do with Victor. He's ignoring his phone calls, deleting him right out of his phone, and Adam's not exactly able to ignore Victor all the way. They run into each other at the athletic club anyway, and it was a pretty rough run-in. The last couple of run-ins that Victor and Adam have had have been extremely rough. Victor did take this opportunity to remind his son of what happened last year at this time. Jack had taken home this woman from the bar who turned out to be a prostitute. She took some drugs, died on the floor of the Abbott mansion. Jack calls Adam to help exterminate the problem, and Adam dumped a prostitute's dead body in an alley somewhere. So Adam did do that, but, let's not forget that Victor was the one who planted that prostitute in Jack's life, but Victor loved and relished bringing up that point. Maybe that's why Victor is suspicious of him. Maybe thinking back to that incident, Victor realizes what his son is capable of, which is no less than the many bad things that Victor has done. During this run-in with Victor and Adam even mentioned, you're so concerned about Delia all of a sudden and finding who it was that killed her when you're the one that kept her father away from her while she had leukemia? Kept Billy hostage while his daughter had leukemia? So Victor's no saint here, but it's just like it became this mud-slinging match. At this point, Victor's trying to get information out of Adam to find out if he could have been the one to kill Delia, but Adam is just very straight-faced. He's very poker-faced. He tells Victor that he's actually at the athletic club trying to meet with his lawyer, Avery, to make sure that in the event of something happening to him, that that Victor cannot get at his son in any way. He's going through the legal processes to make sure that Victor can in no way have any kind of legal rights to Connor. And Adam even throws out, "You disowned me, so now I'm disowning you." And who can blame him? The hatred between these two guys is so intense, and it feels to me like it's even almost more intense than the Victor and Jack feud has been over the years. There is something real, and I don't know if it's that there was this tension between the actors that we know about behind the scene or is alleged behind the scene, but just the two characters, Victor and Adam, you can feel that there's a visceral hatred in the air during these scenes, which does make them enjoyable as a viewer, I have to say. So Adam leaves Victor's table and has this meeting with Avery, and it's very sad. He's putting things in place in the event that he's not going to be around, legal papers with Avery, and Avery is trying to help him secure his son's future. And Avery does mention that video confession that Adam gave to her. She was not able to open it or watch it in any way. She was just holding it onto him for safekeeping. And Adam says, I don't think that that's going to be needed anymore, so I'm going to just take that off your hands, which is unfortunate because it's going to play a role with Avery. At least it was in safekeeping. Adam's going to get that video, and if he's not able to destroy it in time, somebody else is going to find it. It's going to be used as evidence against him, although I think when all of the cards come down, Adam won't lie all the way through court. I think he will eventually confess to what he thinks he has done, but which I don't want to believe that he's done. I don't think I'll ever believe that Adam actually did this. It's just all too annoyingly convenient. But Adam's going to take that video back, and it's going to really, I think, put that nail in his proverbial coffin. Victor had a follow-up meeting with his private investigator after meeting with Adam again, and they're getting so close. They're getting closer than the police could get. I don't know why Victor and his private eye are able to get to the bottom of this case and like 100% totally figure it out, and the police aren't able to. But Victor is looking at all of the information. The private eye has follow-up information about where everyone was on the night of Delia's death. Adam had just learned about Connor's eye condition. Victor deduces that Adam could have been going for a drive and could have been distracted. And then there's the piece of the puzzle that the PI brings up as the death hammer. He is able to secure some type of receipt showing that Adam purchased a replacement taillight for the car. Now, there were other people who had their black SUVs on the list that had done car repairs afterwards. One woman bought a new SUV the next day. So it seemed like, even though there were a ton of other possibilities, the fact that Adam had bought the replacement taillight was what really caused Victor's suspicion to swell up and come to a conclusion. Victor now 100% believes and said out loud Adam killed Delia, which I just still don't think is true. But I wonder what Victor's going to do with this information. My question is this Victor's worst fear about what his son has done? Or is this exactly the ammunition that he's been waiting to have for at least the past 4 years? Adam offhandedly mentions to Chelsea marriage this week, that might be something they might want to consider. And Chelsea had that moment several weeks ago where she found their wedding rings in Adam's drawer, and she knows this is something that's been on his mind. It's something that's weighing on her mind. I mean, for crying out loud, she's been divorced for a month. I mean, certainly it is time to get remarried. But more so, she wants to complete her family. But there is some hesitation on both parts. I think Adam and Chelsea are finding themselves falling back in love together seriously, enjoying this family that they're creating, but also there's an amount of reservation on both sides. Neither of them wants to admit how much they really love the other one. So they both very quickly play off the marriage idea, which probably would have been for the best considering we know it's never gonna happen. So Chelsea goes through her process all week of trying to decide whether or not she does want to marry Adam, if this is a good decision for her future, and probably not the best idea. She goes to Chloe and confides in Chloe, I guess just wanting to tell her best friend that she is finding herself in love with Adam and maybe wants to marry him, and Chloe pounces on Chelsea as if she is an angry mother or something, just saying, are you insane? Do you have temporary insanity or memory loss, or do you remember who Adam Newman is? Why would you want to marry him? During that scene, I thought Chloe looked really gorgeous, though. I loved her in her red plaid shirt, red lipstick. Chloe is just looking so good right now. And as a matter of fact, Chelsea looked really good this week, too. She had on this, like, crisscross gray sweater toward the end of the week. Oh, I want to get me one of those. It probably wouldn't look nearly as good on me, but I'm loving the fashion for these fashionistas and their fashion business that we never see. But I did enjoy that. There was actually a smart move by Chelsea. She just says, to Chloe, if you're my friend, I need you to support me. She just really actually begs Chloe to just support her decisions regardless of what they are. And Chloe does agree. It was nice to see that moment between the two women where Chloe decides to stop warning her against Adam and just start supporting her. And when Chelsea walks away and leaves Chloe there with Kevin, who's just walked in, and Chloe remarks to Kevin that she doesn't like Adam but she doesn't think he's dangerous. Doesn't think that he's the kind of person who would harm someone, and I think that's going to come into play. Chloe is in a place where she dislikes Adam, but doesn't find him threatening, and then all of this is going to blow up about what he did to her daughter, and that's going to really give Chloe, I don't know what that's going to do to her, because she's being weird around Connor. She's taken the idea of being a godmother very seriously, and there's nothing wrong with that, but she and Chelsea are going to end up raising that kid on their own, whether they like it or not. There's this weird moment where Chloe is alone with Connor, and this woman walks up and sees them together and just basically compliments the baby. Oh, what a cute baby you have there. And Chloe just says, yeah, she accepts it. She happily accepts this compliment as if she's the mother. And I don't think it's at this point, extremely deep. I don't know, maybe it is. Maybe it is extremely deep-seated, because last week she was caught with the onesie in her bag, and now it's almost as if she's trying to relive those early moments with her own baby. Oh, very, very sad. That's going to be really hard. I mean, when oh my gosh, when everything goes down with Adam and Chloe finds out what he did, and now being the godmother to Connor, I'm afraid she's going to snap. I don't know what she's going to do. Adam ends up going to Jack this week. And, oh, before I get into that, did you guys notice that we saw that exterior shot of the Abbott mansion? I don't think we've ever seen an exterior shot of that in the time that I can remember. I mean, sometimes we get shots of the ranch, some horses running through the fields, and that tells us we're at the ranch. But they showed this long shot of the whole Abbott property and the house, and it was beautiful. And as Gary had called into my voicemail, mentioned that he noticed it too, and that there was great detail and etching on the doors. It was just really, really cool to see that outdoor shot of the mansion. I mean, I think it gave, well, first of all, YNR does not have enough outdoor shots where it's stuffy inside right now. So I feel like maybe they got that criticism and took it to heart. Last week we had those outdoor Abby and Tyler beach shots, and now we're seeing the exterior. But I think it really helps us feel like we're in Genoa City. It really helps set the scene. It was like a breath of fresh air. So I really, really enjoyed that. Thumbs up, YNR, on that. I want to see way more of that kind of thing. It just really helps me feel like I'm in Genoa City. It gets me a sense of the town that I spent so much time in. So anyway, that was cool. But Adam goes to the mansion to talk to Jack, and he was saying that he doesn't really trust Chloe to be the godmother. So there's this mutual distrust between them. But more importantly, Adam's main focus is keeping Victor away from his child. And so Adam's talking to Jack all through this, whatever he's feeling. He's feeling like he wants to get his ducks in a row. He's very, very much getting his affairs in order. He asks Jack to be Connor's godfather, which is going to come in handy soon. And back to the scene where he was with Avery, Adam was very insistent that part of the paperwork that he wants to have done is to ensure that Jack is Connor's godfather, not just in the traditional sense, but in a legal guardianship way. And he, of course, needs Chelsea's permission for this, so I think that's something he's going to be discussing with her in the week to come. But it's really sad. It's almost like we all know Adam is dying or something, and he's having to get his affairs into order, and it's really heartbreaking. Jack is giving him this pep talk about love and that Chelsea's the woman for him and he needs to go for it and be with her. And separately, Anita is having pretty much the exact same conversation with Chelsea. And when Adam gets home, Adam and Chelsea have a talk where they decide to get married. They want to go through with it. And gosh, I think, oh, it's going to be so heartbreaking. I think Adam is going to end up getting arrested at their wedding. Dylan calls to meet with Nikki, and he has a lot of questions for her. He wants to try to get any information that he can about his father, Ian Ward, and it's understandable that he would want to know the man, but at the same time, it's really courting disaster, and Nikki tries to warn him that he might not like what he finds. You know, you may have this reunion moment with your father, but it may turn out to be something that really makes things worse. So she warns him, tells him to be careful, tells him everything she knows, but tells him to be very careful. And the scene where they were talking this out with Avery was there as well, but it really hit home something a little different for me. I've been considering how Ian Ward coming back into the picture would affect Dylan's life, but for the first time it really dawned on me that bringing this man back into Genoa City or into the picture could destroy Nikki's life as well. She could be bringing up a lot of old memories. He could be someone who could be a physical danger to her or could be like psychologically messing with her, and we all know Victor's not going to stand for that. I mean, this guy's going to come back into town one way or another. He's gonna meet with Dylan. He's gonna meet with Nikki. Nikki's going to come face to face with this man, and as long as she doesn't hide it and try to keep Victor completely out of it and think that she can just handle it all on her own, I think another really exciting confrontation is going to be with Victor and Ian. I mean, Victor's going to have a run-in with this guy one way or another, and it's gonna be epic. It's New Year's Eve at the athletic club, and Neil is throwing a New Year's Eve party / engagement party for he and Leslie, and there is some time before Neil gets to the party where Lily and Leslie are talking to one another, and Lily confesses to Leslie that she wasn't sure that Leslie would say yes to Neil's proposal. We know that Lily felt that maybe Leslie wasn't ready for this, and so I think Leslie heard that and it took her back a little bit, that maybe her hesitation is a little more transparent than she would like. But during that scene between Leslie and Lily, it occurred to me, Lily is very accepting considering the fact that her mother has died, and it's probably difficult to accept your father remarrying or several other times or getting involved in relationships beyond your mother. And I think Lily has been very supportive of his relationship with Leslie. But my question is, what is the age difference between Leslie and Lily? Because they look like they could be kind of around the same age, and I almost wonder if Leslie might be a little bit younger than Lily. I think Leslie carries herself as so professional that maybe it plays, maybe it reads a little bit older, but they've got to be at least around the same age, and wouldn't that be kind of awkward? That your father's dating someone your age? I don't know, that would be weird for me, but anyway, it's this New Year's Eve engagement party, and Neil's making this great toast about his bride-to-be, and everyone is gushing over Leslie and her ring, and there were so many times throughout where Leslie had this hesitant look on her face, like she is not sure that she wants to do this or that she should do this. So my question for you guys is, will Leslie and Neil ever actually make it down the aisle? Tracy and Ashley show up at the Abbott's house to help Jack ring in the new year, and I loved it. Ashley was looking beautiful in her sparkly blue dress and her short new haircut. Y&R is just playing right into my desires here. They know that I like Ashley, and they're giving it, they're bringing it. Thank you. It was really nice to see the Abbott kids back together, Jack and his two spinster sisters. Although Tracy is married, but there's problems with her and Steve's relationship. We need to just cut Steve out of the picture and hook Tracy up with Tyler. That's what I say. Tracy, Tyler, Ashley, Stitch, bada bing, done. The only thing left to do is find someone for Jack. Actually, speaking of that, with I think the best of intentions, Ashley and Tracy tried to convince Jack that maybe it's time for him to start emotionally moving on from Phyllis, which, oh gosh, I know how he felt, and I understand where Jack is coming from, but at the same time, Jack is in a holding pattern with his life. He is so sentimental. He is sentimental by nature. And now the woman that he loves, just as he was rediscovering his love for her, is in a coma. And that's very difficult to move on, have a relationship. How do you have a relationship with a ghost? And that's how it feels in a way. He's just very, very, I don't know. There's something about him that is just so sentimental, and he's stuck. And I don't know. I think maybe it is time for Jack to move on. Gosh, I wish that Kelly didn't turn out to be a bad guy, because there are so many people I could pair her with, because I could see Kelly and Jack being together. Oh, that'd be good, because then she would have kind of had these feelings for Billy and maybe almost hooked up with him a little bit, and then she's married to Jack. Of course, that's probably been there, done that. I want Jack to be happy. He was not very receptive to the idea of his sisters giving him this advice to move on from Phyllis, so he was upset about that. But nevertheless, the Abbotts showed up at the Winter's New Year's Eve / engagement party, and Victor was there too. It was kind of funny. I really, truly chuckled. When Jack walks in the door, he sees that Victor is already there, and he just looks at him and says, "Well, there's an old acquaintance that should be forgot." Zing! I enjoyed that. That was good. They had a little run-in, of course. And Victor reminded Jack about what happened to him last New Year's Eve, where he accidentally picked up a prostitute and she died on the floor in his living room, which Victor was totally behind. Hell yes, he was. So you might want to be careful slinging that mud, Victor. There was also this scene where Jack realizes that Hillary is a little closer to Tracy than he realized. He sees Tracy and Hillary talking to one another, and it dawns on him that Hillary, his assistant, has been feeding information to Tracy and Ashley, or the sisters in their sisterly way know that Jack's not going to give them the full story, so they've been asking Hillary questions about how he's really doing, and Hillary's telling them the truth. She's worried about him too, understandably. So Jack tells her, you know what, you need to not focus on me. I'm gonna forgive you for this, but you need to not focus on me. You need to focus on yourself and moving on. Look around this room right now and find someone who you'd like to be kissing at the stroke of midnight. And, let's see, Devon was at the party. And true to form, at the stroke of midnight, Hillary and Devon share a moment together. There was no kiss, but it was clearly a moment. I mean, gee, as if we couldn't guess that was going to happen. Hillary's been a good girl for a whole month, so why shouldn't she be able to hook up with the billionaire? Sharon meets Stitch for the first time, and I loved it. I thought, ooh, Sharon and Stitch. I mean, there's just so many options of people we could pair Stitch with. We've got some new hunks and babes on the show, and we need to switch things up a little bit in the right way. I thought that was had some potential, Sharon and Stitch, if we can't have Ashley. But like a Sharon, Stitch, Ashley triangle would be good too. The battle of the blondes. More importantly, I mean, Sharon's gonna need something to get over what's about to happen to her. After Sharon runs into Stitch, she runs into Neil. And Neil says, hey, don't hang out at home New Year's Eve. Come to this party at the athletic club. And she says she's not going to, but we all know she will. Separately, Nick's at home strumming on his guitar. No, not strumming is not even the right word. Screeching on his guitar. He's taking online guitar lessons, and he's horrible. It's so horrible. It's adorable. And Abby stops by, and she invites him to the same party. So they both separately decide to show up at this party. Sharon looking gorgeous in her just beautiful raspberry colored dress. Oh, she was like an angel. Nick looked really nice, dark blue. I want to say it was dark blue. It picked up as dark blue suit. Just they both looked so cute. Sharon had this Happy New Year tiara, like party hat on. Oh my gosh, it was wonderful. They had this moment where they first realized that they were at the same party. They they said, should we both stay? I could leave if I wanted to. It's awkward between them now because there's feelings there. They're both trying to resist. But they both decide to stay and have fun, and I am totally enjoying their friendship. I always have. From the day that Sharon showed up in Genoa City, and I remember it, I have enjoyed their romance and their friendship. I mean, from the early days, they have been such a compelling couple, and I think primarily because you sense that there is a friendship there. They had love and romance and passion and sex. I mean, so much sex throughout the years in so many different ways, but there was a friendship at the core of it, and it's nice to see that again now. The countdown starts for New Year's Eve, and right at the stroke of midnight, Nick gives Sharon a friendly one kiss. And then I don't know what happened. It was like one kiss, and then all of a sudden he just goes in for the make out. I mean, the whole time they're singing Auld Lang Syne, Nick and Sharon are sucking face in the corner with everybody sort of looking over at them how could he be with her again? It was pretty good. Now, the next day, they're, of course, totally trying to avoid talking about it. She's at the underground with him, helping him prep something or other, and they both are avoiding the topic of the hot kiss last night that's at hand, and it was so hilarious because they're going about their everyday business, whatever they're doing, and we as the viewers can hear their internal dialogue. Just both of them gushing over the kiss, that's all they can really think about. It was seriously like an episode of The Wonder Years. That's all I could think. It was so funny. Oh gosh, finally Nick let slip the word kiss instead of what he meant to say, and they both talked about it and just realized that they had this kiss and they need to acknowledge it, and while they're talking about the kiss, they almost have another kiss. Oh my gosh. There was a day when I would have eaten this up with a spoon, and more so than I am right now. But when Summer walked in and interrupted them, it was just another stark reminder of Sharon's horrible lie. Lauren has a dream, or a nightmare. Actually, she rolls over in bed and sees Carmine lying there right beside her. For a moment, I thought it was real until she sits up in bed and gasps and realizes that it was a nightmare. She comes out to the main living room, and Michael gets a ding-dong at the door. There's a mysterious package that has been delivered for them. There's no mailing address on it. It's just a white box. And I kept thinking, oh my gosh, if there are chocolate covered strawberries in that box, I'm going to scream. But Michael picks up the box, puts it on the coffee table. He and Lauren stand around for a freaking hour, way too long, talking about, what could be inside the box? Open the box! Just open the box and you'll find out what's inside of the box. Is it a severed head? I don't know. Well, Michael opens it up, and it's actually a cake. And on the cake, in icing, is written, "Forget me not." Lauren knows immediately it's Carmine. It's like basically the cake represents everyone's paranoia. Lauren immediately thinks it's Carmine until Fen comes in the room, and he insists that this cake was meant for him, and he tells his parents everything about what was going on with Womack. And Michael says he's going to get to the bottom of it, and he's going to find out who it was. It can't be Carmine. Carmine's dead. Carmine couldn't possibly have sent the cake. So surely it had to have been this Womack character, but I don't think it was at all. I really seriously don't think it was. I think it's 100% totally Carmine. I mean, what kind of prison thug sends a cake? We saw more of Courtney's encounter with Detective Alex Chavez, aka Zach, this week. I just don't know what to think about this. They're talking, and it was a lot of banter at first. He was totally rude to her in the most adorable way. Can you tell I have a crush? I am sure I am blushing thinking about him. It was weird though. Courtney tries to cut to the chase and asks him, like, do you have something for me? And then before we know it, Noah walks in and interrupts them, and it's all over. And Chavez is gone, and Noah and Courtney are at the coffee house, and her phone rings while she's away, and Noah looks inside of her purse, P.S. rude, and sees pills all over the place. So I don't know. I feel like I don't know any more about that situation than I did last week. I guess by day, Alex is fighting evil on behalf of the GCPD, tracking down a little girl's murderer, and then at night he's dealing drugs. Okay, you guys, that is our first Y&R chat for the new year. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you let me know how you're feeling about the show right now. I know there's a lot of mixed emotions. It's been a really hard 2013. I'm gonna try to remain positive that 2014 will bring us back to a place of amazing awesomeness. That is my hope, and I hope that you guys stick with it. I hope that you keep watching the show. It's a journey, and we're all on it together, and I don't want to lose my friends, so keep watching. And what you don't like, let's talk about it. So go ahead, leave a comment in the comments box. You can also call into my voicemail if you'd like to do that. The telephone number is area code 309-588-4569. If you like leaving quick messages, that'd be a good way to reach me. Or, text comments work too. I absolutely do read them, and it shapes how I talk about the show, so please don't be shy. You can also go to the website at yrchat.com and see what goodies I've got going on there. So there's a link to that in the description of this video on YouTube. There's a couple different ways to contact me and feedback, and I always appreciate and enjoy hearing what you guys have to say. So that's it. Everybody have an awesome week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.